Hey guys, today on the Calibrate Tools DIY channel, we're going to talk about what not to do with these sanders. So stick around, I'll see you right after this. Alright guys, in the past video we covered sanders, particularly sheet sanders or palm sanders like this one, and orbital sanders. We got into the pros and cons of each one. Sheet sanders are used mainly for finish work. Its mechanical drive is not as intense, it has a tighter orbit of rotation, it's not meant to go deep and take off those layers of material like an orbital sander is meant for. Not to mention the obvious, the lens of a sheet sander is square shaped, and when I say lens, that's just this portion of it right here that takes the sanding pad. It's square shaped versus the round orbital sander. That makes the sheet sander an ideal machine for getting into corners, something you really can't do with a round sander. Orbital sanders have a stronger mechanical drive, which makes it more ideal for taking off layers of material in the prepping phase of your projects. So the orbital is great for the first stages, the prep work, and the finishing is for those last stages when you're polishing up your projects. So the next obvious question is, if I'm using an orbital sander to do my prep work, how am I going to get into those corners to prep them? Can I use a sheet sander for that? And the answer to that is no. And when I say no, it's really not recommended because, as stated before, a sheet sander is meant for finish work, not rough work or prepping. Typically, a sheet sander vibrates in a linear fashion, kind of like if you're sanding manually, the pad is moving in a linear fashion, back and forth. Even though some sheet sanders do have an orbital motion to it, you're risking leaving scratches on your work if you don't use it correctly. So even though it may be tempting to get into those corners, they have other tools for that when you're doing your prep work, like detail sanders, sometimes called mouse sanders or corner sanders, that you can use in conjunction with your orbital sander. Now, a common mistake that people make while sanding is pushing down on the sander with too much pressure. You definitely don't want to do that because it can cause swirls on your material and it can also create an uneven sanding pattern. Not to mention, by pushing down on the sander, that noise you heard when the motor slowed down is actually the motor struggling to accommodate that extra pressure that you're applying to the machine. You're basically making the sander work harder than it needs to work, making it harder to accomplish its rotations on the material. In the case of this orbital sander, which relies on rotations to get the job done. By overloading on pressure and friction against the material, that's just producing more heat and motor strain, and that'll eventually cause the sander to malfunction or shut down completely. Just let the weight of the sander do the work. Let the orbital motion carry it along and you should be fine. Another common mistake people make when sanding is starting the sander before you contact the surface. By starting the sander in the air and then contacting the surface, it's going to make it difficult for the sander to get the proper contact with the surface, even though it's not that obvious. So you always want to start the sander when it's already in contact with the material. But the next part of that equation is that you don't want to stop the sander while it's on the surface. Because you let the rotation slow down on the surface by keeping the sander on the surface, that can create an uneven sanding pattern or an uneven surface. So at the end of your sanding, you want to remove the sander from the material while it's still at the same speed. That's called the start on, stop off method. You want to start it while it's on the material and stop it while it's off the material to avoid any swirl marks or uneven surfaces. Another common mistake when using sanders is using the sander at an angle on the surface, most likely to get out a stubborn or problem area. This is absolutely the worst thing you can do because all you're doing is creating an even worse problem. Now you can do that with an angle grinder, but sanders are not angle grinders. You have to keep your sanders flat on the surface. If you don't and you keep it at an angle, you're going to sand your way into the surface so deep that you're going to gouge out some of the surface and it's going to be very uneven. This is what happens when you use your sander at an angle. It creates a dip in the surface and just ruins the job. Another mistake people make with their sanding is going too fast. Just like anything else in life, that principle applies to sanding as well. If you go too fast, you're most likely going to miss some spots, and the results are not going to be as good. The other side to that is going too slow. Going too slow can create dips in the surface or an uneven surface because you're staying in one spot too long. So the rule is just keep a controlled, even pace throughout your sanding. That way you'll have a nice even surface when you're done. Now here's another mistake that we can make when using a sander, and that's using the wrong grit sandpaper for the job. If the grit is too fine for the material, then it may not remove the material effectively. If it's too rough or coarse for the material, then you can end up leaving deep scratches in your material. Best thing to do is start with the coarse grit to remove the material, and then progressively move on up to the finer grits for a smooth finish. So when it comes to the grit, you definitely don't want to skip. What do I mean by that? You don't want to go from a 60 grit and skip to a 120 grit. You don't want to just sand specific areas of the workpiece. You want to sand everything, the whole piece. That's the only way you're going to have a consistent finish. So the best thing to do is progressively move on up. Start with a 60, then to an 80, then to a 100 grit, and then to a 120 grit, and so on. And another thing you want to do is check your sandpaper while you're sanding. Sandpaper can get clogged after rounds and rounds of sanding, and clogged sandpaper will definitely create an uneven surface. It can also create scratches in your surface as well. So how do you clean your sandpaper? You can take a brush and brush out the dust and wood that's clogging it, or you can take some compressed air and blow it out. These holes right here are meant to vacuum up all the dust and send it to this dust collection bag back here. And they're also responsible for helping to keep the sander cooler during operation because they help with airflow. So make sure that these are not clogged or have any obstructions as well. All right, guys, there you have it. Don't neglect your sanders. They are an essential part of any project, woodworking, carpentry, furniture, doesn't matter. They are non-negotiable unless you want to do it by hand, and you know how long that can take. If you got anything to add to the mix, feel free to leave it in the comments. Guys, if you want to support the channel, check out the links in the description. Check out the home improvement planner we have for you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.